always felt
I can do anything if people are laughing.
One morning, she just said, "Something's wrong with me."
the comedian who does all this stupid stuff gets the most unfunny thing in the world.
How often do we get to know what we're actually made of?
Her place as an American female comedian is pretty solid. But she's also an inspiration to people living with cancer, as there's like 18 or 20 Gilda's clubs throughout the country, and many people still read her book. So I just thought her legacy was really unique and a story that should be told.
This is side one. If I should talk like this, can it understand?
When I think back on my life, I always felt that my comedy was just to make things be all right.
Gilda's brother gave me access to her boxes that had been in storage for 30 years. And so I started getting I had interviewed people and they would tell me what Gilda was like, but I was able to read her journals and listen to her audio tapes and really get a good sense of what she was like inside.
I can't believe this is her handwriting.
When I went to film Amy Poehler, I had always wanted the comedians to read something from it, and we didn't really know how that would work out. So James, my producer, who's here, I said, how are we going to get Amy to read? And he said, well, why don't you read to her? So I took out the journal and I opened it, and Amy's like, is that Gilda's?
This is Gilda Radner, her voice and her writing. First and foremost, above everything else, my main priority is that I am a girl. I've never wanted to be anything else. I'm fascinated with boys, but I never wanted to be one. I agree, Gilda.
She started just like reading, and then I after each shoot, I did the same thing with each person, but I kind of directed them onto what, I would put little sticky notes of where I wanted them to read. But they were just, you always hear that people are inspired by people. But I really, knew once they were able to see her materials and read, and how much they just adored her.
Maybe you know me, and maybe you don't, or maybe you heard of me but never saw me, or maybe you used to know me but don't know me anymore. For one time in my life, I was famous, and it seemed like everyone knew me.
She actually wrote this whole journal about what it was like to be famous, and she poked fun at it, and that's how, I think that was one of the most surprising things is you always hear that somebody's a comedian, they should be funny, and most of the time people say, oh, they're not that funny in real life, but she was really funny. I mean, and you can tell it just from her writings that she was able to find the humor in the darkest of times.
People want to know, well, what made you funny? And I know what made me funny.
My biggest motivation has always been love.